Vandaag is het precies 10 jaar geleden dat Amerika de eerste bommen op Afghanistan liet vallen. Als vergelding voor de aanslagen op het World Trade Center en om de Taliban te verdrijven. Een van die Taliban-strijders was de Amerikaanse John Walker Lindh. De Amerikanen nemen hem gevangen en binnen een paar dagen groeit hij uit tot volksvijand nummer 1. Walker Lindh loste nooit een schot en had niets met 9/11 te maken, maar zit al 10 jaar vast. Amerika-correspondent Tom Klein sprak met Walkers vader.
Oh, I just think, oh God, John, how could you get yourself into that position? And what a miracle that he was able to get out at all. You know, to survive this was just miraculous. It's chilling.
By the morning of the third day of fighting, every Taliban on the surface of the fort had been killed.
Eind jaren 90 is John Walker Lindh een gewone middelbare scholier uit San Francisco. Hij is geïnteresseerd in de islam, gaat naar de moskee en wil graag Arabisch leren op een school in Jemen.
This was John's ambition. His heart was in it. There was no denying it. So we had some trepidation. We didn't really know much about Yemen. But he did his research. It was clear that this was a good place to study Arabic language. So he did go, and with our full support, I supported him financially. We took him to the airport and saw him off on his trip to Yemen.
Een paar maanden later stuurt John een e-mail. Hij wil naar een islamschool in Pakistan. Dan blijft het stil. Het wordt 11 september en Amerika is in oorlog met Afghanistan.
We thought he was in the mountains in Pakistan. And we were increasingly worried about him as the summer progressed, and then especially after 9/11, after the terrorist attacks. His mother and I, but especially his mother, were just so worried about him. Where is John?
In december 2001 is er een opstand in een fort waar krijgsgevangen Taliban zitten. Er volgt een dagenlange slagpartij.
The warlord that controlled that fortress wanted to kill all of those Taliban prisoners, and they really tried throughout that week to kill them in the basement of the fortress. And so they dropped a bomb, hand grenades and other kinds of explosive devices down. They poured gasoline down and lit it on fire. They were doing everything they could to exterminate the prisoners in the basement of that building.
Er komen honderden Taliban-strijders om en 1 Amerikaan, een agent van de CIA. Slechts 86 mannen overleven.
Later that night, we got a news report that indicated one of the survivors was a young American. And Marilyn and I instantly recognized that it was John. We could see his face.
John blijkt zich te hebben aangesloten bij de Taliban. Hij wordt naar een Amerikaanse basis overgebracht voor ondervraging. Hij staat bekend als gevangene 001.
His hands and feet were bound with tight plastic restraints and put in extreme pain. His bullet wound and his shrapnel wounds were left untreated. And he was placed in this condition, completely naked and bound up in that manner, in an unheated metal shipping container out there on the base in the Afghan desert in December in extreme cold. And he was trembling and in fear of his life and kept that way. They kept him that way for 2 days and 2 nights. By any ordinary human understanding of the word torture, my son was tortured by American troops. This is the New York Times on this 11th of December. It's a picture of the funeral of Mike Spann, that CIA agent.
That was killed during the uprising?
Was killed right there at the uprising. A very compelling photograph. That's his widow carrying their little baby in her arms, and that's his father. The funeral, it's the casket being carried to the gravesite at Arlington Cemetery. And then this is all above the fold in the New York Times. The article, the theme of the article is captured in this headline, one for his country and one against it. And the one they depict as being against his country, responsible for killing the American hero, was John, my son, John. That John was there against the United States. And that was being declared by the New York Times on page 1 in early December. public enemy number one, even by the most responsible newspaper in America.
Maar toen Lind zich aansloot bij de Taliban, waren die nog bondgenoot van Amerika. Nu staat hij voor de rechter. De jongen die soldaat werd bij de Taliban, maar nooit een schot loste, is Amerika's volksvijand nummer 1.
And John went and aligned himself with the people the Americans had traditionally supported. And after 9/11, when America did this complete reversal, John was trapped. He was caught behind the line there at a time when American policy had flipped and gone to the opposite side. But then people accused the president and others accused my son of being a traitor to the United States or engaging in treason because he was found on the side that we were now opposing. But when he went to Afghanistan in the spring, we were supporting the Taliban.
Lind krijgt uiteindelijk een deal aangeboden. De aanklacht terrorisme vervalt als hij schuld bekent aan mindere vergrijpen. Als hij maar nooit publiekelijk zegt gemarteld te zijn. In ruil daarvoor krijgt hij 20 jaar cel.
It's a profound injustice, a conspicuous injustice that other people picked up in Afghanistan have been sent home to their families after brief periods of imprisonment. And John, after 10 years, not only is he still in prison, but as you say, he faces a minimum of 8 more years of imprisonment.
Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
Right here in this room, we heard the news on that Sunday night that bin Laden had been killed. And the next morning, I had a flight to visit my son at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I got up at 4 in the morning and took the bus to the airport. And all I could think about was, why can't John come home now? It always seemed to me that my son was a proxy for bin Laden. The United States failed to capture bin Laden. We failed to block the terrorist attacks in the first place. The government then accused my son in a way to distract people, I think, from their own failures. But now that we finally have killed bin Laden, why can't John come home?